Hi, I'm Fran with Stampendous, and I've designed a pop-up forest for you now. So here you have a cling rubber stamp set with lots of ideas and things on the back, and a coordinating die set so that you have all of the perfectly matching pieces to cut out. And we have a clear set that has some wonderful forest and tree sayings, and they all work together. So let me show you here. I'm using a stuff tainer for storage, and all of my cling will cling to the inside of the package here. And in case you hadn't discovered this, I'll show you how the clear set will also cling to the inside panel, and then that gives you a way to keep everything together, including your dies. And I have these on one of the magnetic sheets from Crafter's Companion, and I've got my pop-up in here as well, and we'll show you how all of that comes together. I started out with my color pencils, and if you'll notice, I've intentionally colored over the lines. If I'm going to die cut these pieces, I might as well do that, and then they'll be all the more forgiving when I go to die cut them. And color pencils works beautifully, of course. And then over here I've ventured into using all of my Copic markers, and you can really get a nice look. And again, go over the lines. Initially it's kind of hard to do, but it will help. And so now let me show you. And the thing is, you're going to die cut this anyway, so when you take your die, like for the tree, you can see that it is going to cut away most of this foreground. But anyway, move it around until it lines up perfectly. And I'm going to have to trim this sheet actually, but I'll show you that if you use your magnetic plate, that really makes a difference for lining everything up. So you can die cut all of the different pieces, and I'll show you next a couple of projects. So here you can see a very simple card, and using a printed background gets the ball rolling and makes it easier to add your other die cut pieces. And that's a nice little card. Over here, I wanted to show how fun it would be to do a whole family tree. And instead of coloring all the leaves, I simply used some paper prints, which make a quick way to get to some beautiful color and pattern. And then the clear sets, I've used all of the little frames in the pop-up set, which give you a lot of very nice little messages to add to any of your cards. I want to explain a few things about the pop-up die set in case you haven't used it before. You'll see in the package you get a lot of instructions, and you get all sorts of different pieces. The main one is this structure here, and one easy format is to take an 8.5 by 11 paper, cut it in half for the vertical dimension, score it in half, and that gives you the base. And for an inner panel, if you want to cut it 1/4 of an inch shorter and narrower, then it's going to frame it nicely. So taking this inner panel, find your midpoint, and simply line this up. And this is going to score as well as cut what you need for the structure. So I've run this through the machine already, because I want to show you the easiest way to train the folds. So begin pushing on the paper and turn it so that you can find this narrow spot at the base. Then you should be able to find the halfway mark. Then push past that little notch and turn it over and fold it on either side of this little slot that's in there. Then you have 4 little tabs. Push them all the way up. And you'll see this works nicely to do on a heavier weight cardstock so that you have the support for all these levels. Okay, so now this gives you the structure that we're going to use for the trees. Now you're not limited with this format, but this is a real easy one, and I'll show you a couple of cards that are finished here. These are so fun. So on this one, we just used a print in the background, and you can see how all the little leaves kind of bob around. And some of this was done using papers we did on the Creative Palette, and then you can color and do any different combination. So this one has the little puppy, and this one with the forest you can see using different colors of paper, and even some of the borders for clouds is really fun. So now let's take a look at this. On this one I did a wider card, and this basically makes a 6-inch card, so you can use your scrapbook paper to make a larger base. And then I worked on the background and ran it through the machine to die cut it, and then I could see where all of my different pieces were going to come together. So you can see here I've begun to attach pieces to the base part, and then the leaves are on these other tabs, and you can see this isn't centered, but it works beautifully. So now I can add all my other little forest friends here, and I've got the little doe, I've got a little squirrel, you can tuck the little owls up into the tree, got a little bird over here, the little squirrel can run up and down the tree, or you can have him chasing the birds up here. Let me give you a couple of tips about assembling your pop-up card. I always recommend that you put the glue onto the base layer, and this allows you to keep from getting glue where you don't want it, and you want all of the little tab pieces to be able to move back and forth. So you want to position them where they don't block another tab. And then you can just carefully press it closed, make sure everything has a place to shift up or down. And when you can close it nice and flat, then you're ready to apply glue. So I'm going to do the glue all the way around on this layer and avoid the windows. So now you can make a stampendous impression every time using our pop-up die and the pop-up forest.